left. Oh my god, your left or my left? Oh, here you are. Okay, so for those of you who are actually wondering how to say my surname, it's Szczur. So you might understand why I always say, oh, it's just this weird surname starting with S. Like, don't even bother saying it with all your respect, seriously. Anyhow, I was really humbled when Dave told me to do a keynote in the morning apart from my afternoon session. And of course, I thought, oh, I'm going to do this great keynote. I will talk about the state of the community. And then when I was jet lagged at 3 a.m. today, I thought, oh my God, how am I even going to, talk about the state of the community in 10 minutes? So, that being said, I had an entire talk written that could probably take me 40 minutes to say. It was about open source, how it came to life in the 80s, how Richard Stallman gave out his manifesto, how open source and the notion of free software became somewhat mainstream when Linux started. There were a lot of Linux distributions, and how time passed, and there was Mozilla as the steward of open source of some kind, and then how Google released Chrome OS and Android in open source, how open source is 30 years old and it's so great and so awesome, and how we had distributed version control, and I'm talking about Git in 2005, how GitHub changed the way we write software and how we collaborate. But then I thought, that's not actually what I want to talk about, and I want to approach open source from a little bit different perspective, which is community. And we're all a part of community. JavaScript community, design community, front community, Ruby community, those smaller tribes intersect and interact with each other all the time. So we're kind of all like family. But why talk about community when we are talking about open source, and the talk was supposed to be the state of open source community or open source in general? Well, open source was built on the premise of collaboration, on this basic human need of being social. It's spurred of the willingness of sharing and contributing to the community as a whole instead of sitting alone in isolation, which is fundamentally against our nature as humans. It is the spirit of generosity, giving our time, giving advice, giving free software, and for the most part, not wanting anything back. It is the spirit of collaboration that contributes to our ability to solve problems. It's easier to tackle problems as a collective than a solo. That's why we have friends. That's why when we feel really bad, we go to our friends and we're like, just help me deal with that because I don't know what to do. Building better communities, and it's inseparably intertwined with building a better self. And I think a lot of people fail to acknowledge or think about it that way, but community is built from humans. We are the crucial ingredient for communities. So if every single one of you sitting here and every single one of anyone being out there on Twitter or wherever, living wherever, pays attention to creating safer and more welcoming spaces, the whole system, the whole community will be better. And I kind of hate to be recommending books at 9 a.m. and recommending self-help books, but there are 3 books that really changed how I thought about community and interaction with human beings in general. And I've seen a lot of people having a lot of not only fun reading them, but also it changed their perspective. So I'm going to recommend them anyway. It's Creativity Incorporated by Ed Catmull from Pixar, Nonviolent Communication and Positive Intelligence, and I do not remember the authors, and if you forget the titles, I will tweet about them again. But it's something that got me and many people that I know started on working on themselves as a goal for building better communities. Practice empathy and gratitude. Why? Because there are so many people who are entering communities and entering open source in general, and for them it's like unknown waters. Like they just started working with technology or design, or they've been working on design or software, but on their own, not collaborating. And they're scared, and we need to have some empathy for them that they're just starting and they need your help to get out there. And gratitude towards, most of all, contributions, because people spend so much time to make your lives better and easier at work or personally. So we should be grateful for both people who are veterans and who are writing the best frameworks and they're well-known, but also for people who are newcomers and they're putting themselves out there and being so vulnerable but still wanting to help. And talking about empathy and gratitude, I think it's really important, and I'm very happy that this event has a serious approach to code of conduct. It is actually being considerate to diversity and inclusivity efforts and codes of conduct, because it's so easy to dismiss if you've never needed that, or you personally don't see a need of that, but other people do. So let's have empathy. Look around right now physically, please. All of you, just look around. These people sitting here and people who you are interacting with on a daily basis, they can benefit from your help. And you think that you might not have enough knowledge or you might not be awesome enough to be helping someone, but that's a lie. You are more capable than you realize. You have impact, and you don't have, a lot of people say, well, but I'm not famous. I don't have the social credit on Twitter or wherever else or GitHub. That is not true. You don't have to have social credit, whatever that means, to be helpful and be awesome to someone from your community. This is Michael Rogers, and someone, some of you might know him personally or follow him on Twitter. And one of the reasons why I'm mentioning him when I'm talking about community and being empowering is because he's probably one of the most empowering people that I've ever met in my life. And he has been pouring his heart to building awesome communities, not only in Node and JavaScript, which he's known for, but in general. And he encouraged me so much for, as a designer and front-end person, to contribute to JavaScript projects, to go out there and to offer my help. He made me run CSSConf Oakland, which was so amazing. He was so empowering. And I'm not sure if I would be standing here if it wasn't for him and people like that, like him. The point being, you can be a person like that. You can be a mentor. You can be a mentor for someone in this room or someone on the other side of the world. Be open. And communicate compassionately. There's a human being on the other side, and I know it's harder to be compassionate, especially online, because it's just a bunch of characters on the screen, and it's so it's so hard to figure out what someone is feeling, what someone's intentions might be, and it's hard. It's very easy to misinterpret people. So it's very important to be compassionate, and compassion isn't. You might think compassion is a feeling that you should have for people who are old and sick somewhere, I don't know, and their life is kind of sad, and that's compassion. That's compassion towards those people who are less fortunate. But that's not true. Compassion should be the default feeling that you have for anyone you're interacting with this community or another community as well. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And it's not me, it's Martin Luther King, and that's actually a quote that I got from a talk that a colleague, very good friend of mine, who actually is working with me at Adam Brault, used in his presentation at JSConf EU closing keynote called People First. And if you can remember what I just said, you should totally watch it because it's amazing. But I think it's really, really important to remember that question. To remember the question, what are you doing for others? And does the thing that I'm doing right now brings me value? 2 questions for you to ask yourself every single day. community is a group responsibility. It's not someone who is probably famous out there who's managing the community for you, and you're just supposed to be sitting here and not participating, but not trying to build a better community. It's our responsibility. It's our mutual work for making a better community, JavaScript design community in general, of programmers, designers, whoever. So I guess the most important takeaway in this super hectic, fast keynote is let's remember that community is a group responsibility, and let's own it together. Thank you.